Because like my man said, we don't own nothing. So we can't complain about it. You feel me? We can't complain about it. Watch this.
We are not the top of the food chain because we won't allow ourselves to be though.
That's it.
And that's the biggest thing. So why? Because we've subscribed to what they have conditioned.
That's it. Like
what
she
they
said.
have allowed
What
us.
should I call myself?
So,
right? Oh, everybody start talking.
So,
say it again, Jay. I didn't hear anything you just said.
The reason why you said we're not at the top of the food chain because we won't allow ourselves to be, and it's because we subscribe to
what they have given us.
Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord.
Yeah. We have been okay with the crumbs for too long. And so until we change that narrative, because we control the money. And once we realize we control the money, we can be at the top of the food chain. Because if we stop subscribing to anything, we will then control that narrative. But we won't stick together long enough to allow each other to grow, allow each other to get there.
Yeah. Say that again. Yeah, destroy yourself.
Downplay everyday life and everyday actual events. So you're like, yeah, we chose this. No, we didn't.
So no, we didn't. No, so when I hear people say that we chose it, at some point we gotta take that one on the chin. And the reason I said that we chose to accept the crumbs.
When they say that,
that's a choice that we continue to make. We continue to make the choice to accept the crumbs because we won't come together and band together and take rule. Because the money really controls everything. Because the gift and the curse is that middle class America runs this world, right? Because they feed off of everything that we have as working class Americans, right? If we decide,
say it again.
That's what I'm saying. But that's why I said we could control it if we understood what our power was. Right now, we are okay that we can buy a Lexus. We can now go into these stores and shop. And that's good enough for some of us. It's good enough for most of us. And that's where the problem comes in. So at that point, we got to take some responsibility in our choices. Because if we stop accepting the crumbs and we start taking stance and deciding to come together and build together and work together, then it's nothing they can do with us. That's why they keep us. And that's why when they do let one of us in the boardroom, it's only one of us.
Only one, and he's going to come and say,
and everybody congratulate him. Just like, what's the dude that got like 900 million or something?
What?
What's my man's name, yo? Basketball player. Hart, what's his name?
Right. They offered it, right? So
what I'm saying is they
offered it to him,
and
you see people posting like, oh yeah,
that's what's up. Bop. But how does that 900 or 500 million, whatever they said, how does that uplift humanity for that one man?
For all of his
While it's great for him, how does that uplift us? The whole league I talked about.
You want to fight you, David.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right. But we're talking about professional. What you talking about? No. I'm talking about the league is professional. That's what I spoke about. No sir, no sir. Watch this. If you talking about pot water or something like that, no. I don't disregard none of that. We talking about the league and how this dude was offered X amount of dollars. But sir, here's the thing though. You say fuck the league, right? But I bet you most of your homeboys can tell you about the league, their years, experience, numbers, and stats and all, but on the flip side, couldn't tell you anything about their child inside their school. Talk to
But
me.
they know the league.
Say it again. Say it again. How you say perceive? What are you talking about? I ain't perceive you. I said, I bet you if you have your friends and ask them, you enter your friend, okay, watch this. I'm looking at you.
Okay.
No, say it again.
The white court.
Oh, no, we're good. What I'm saying is, most folk that watch sports can quote the stats, right? But can't put nothing of their child in school. The majority is true. Huh?
I can guarantee you majority of the kids like got kids right now. I can guarantee you right now.
Oh, I still know what I said.
And what I'm saying is, what you said.
Okay, so watch this.
About your kids. That's not true.
If you're going right
The
here,
majority of people in here right now that got kids can tell you more about their kids and their schooling than they can about the sport.
So to his credit,
you're not listening to what I'm saying, brother.
I heard exactly what
No, you
he
didn't.
didn't say a majority. Here,
this is the majority.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Thank you.
You don't know all of the majority. That doesn't work.
I mean, that's
See what?
I'm sorry.
I didn't hear you. Say it again. So why is he in the room then? If that's the case,
I'm using your words, what you just said.
we're not talking about the majority in the room though. What I'm saying was this: if you got a brother that can tell you what LeBron did in high school to
I
press,
can't tell you that. I can tell you about my
Can you
kids.
back anything you just said with facts?
say it again.
Can you back anything you said with facts just now? And I promise I love it. I promise.
In reference to what?
With both of our friends knowing more about sports than our kids. Tell me what the test is.
Sure. What I'm saying to you is this.
Percentages on, and if you really want to look it up, they'll tell you that this is the generation of the most prominent and literally available African American fathers from 21 to 35. So you might look the numbers up.
Okay, well watch this. While we look at numbers up, look up what an African American is and come back and holler at me. But watch this. But sir, hold up. What I'm saying to you is this. What I'm saying to you is this, sir and ma'am. Sir and ma'am. The average person, the average mode, right? That engage in the bread and circus to that extent don't know what's going on inside the school. That's all I'm saying. Because we have conversations. Okay. So watch this. What sport do you engage in? You watch football. Okay. Your favorite team is who? The Steelers. First Super Bowl was when? So I ain't talking to you. Because the person that I'm talking to, no.
And I'm responding in general.
Man.
It doesn't really matter what I'm saying. What you're saying is majority. And what I'm saying about the word majority.
How you figure it don't matter what you're saying?
You're saying the word majority and you can't use majority if you really don't. So he asked you to give you statistics. You can't use, I don't like to believe it, but he asked you to give
So
you
what's-
statistics, but you
okay,
can't
so
say
let me ask you this.
majority if you're basing it off the
What stats would I go and grab for him?
whatever majority
What stats would I grab that would be substantial and be acceptable. Where would I get them
You
from?
haven't given any. Give one. So what you're saying is majority, it's pretty majority of people you came in contact with.
Wow.
What I missed?
If you're not telling me anything about the Steelers' first Super Bowl, then you're not the majority I'm talking to, man.
You're talking to your majority.
If you can't tell me that, then you're not going deep enough, so I'm not talking to you.
Then let it be over. That's fine.
All right, so David, sound like I'm missing some stuff. Where's my microphone?
Say it again.
What I miss?
You right.
You right.
David, where's my mic?
Right there. You gotta get a battery though.
All right, I'm sorry. Did I miss something? Hey y'all, it's your girl, Miss V, back in the building. She's not feeling well, so she kind of walked on and off a couple times. But I'm here. What's happening? You need what? You need a new battery? All right, got you that. Come get it. Come on, get one. The topic across the board, before I left, I heard a lot of who voted, why they voted, who they voted for, how much they're doing for the black people. And I didn't get any names because I haven't seen black people. So what part of that did I miss?
Why is that? Why don't they do for black people?
Because black people make nothing mandatorily done for them.
They were what?
Don't make nothing mandatorily done for them. They go with the flow. I can't.
So you go with the flow. If you go with the name change, the identity change.
Trouble.
What the hell?
I did it.
No.
What I'm saying is stand on something. You just sitting here voting and just going with whoever in that booth come out the
Stand on
cleaner.
nothing.
Whoever's not a Republican,
That's it.
that's how we vote.
Stand on it though.
We being collective people of color.
Can you pass the gentleman next to you this night? He had a lot to say last night. I want to have a lot to say. Okay.
Money is power. Power is money.
And all of that money has New World Order on it. Okay?
What we saying? The money is the power.
So what is the New World Order?
The New World Order is the person with the money.
The New World Order is white supremacy. That's the system that we live in. That is why we subscribe to black and white. Because that is a social construct that they created to posture themselves, pale people to posture themselves as a dominant race, which is where we get the out of Africa theory. So if we all came from
Because
Africa,
they gave that to us, right?
so check this out. If everybody came from Africa, why are we the only ones that get called African American? Why aren't white people, quote unquote, called Africans too? But the original.
Right. Well, they said they from the Caucasus Mountains.
Now, I don't want to go too deep, but even
Who is they?
Even if you look at that, the original Caucasians look like us.
Yep.
In the world, who are pale skinned, who position themselves as the majority, when they are really the minority.
Right, yeah, now I most definitely agree
So,
with that.
so when we talk about, I'm sure y'all heard of Darwinism, right? Charles Darwin, he created, we all evolved from monkeys out of Africa, and that people with pale skin are the most evolved and superior race. And that is how we get to today.
To where we are now, yeah.
Right, where we
white
have,
people rock.
They said they was the caveman. We taught them how to stand and talk and walk and be civilized.
Right. So if you look at King James look like us. A lot of the nobility and royal families of Europe in the early centuries, prior to the 18th century, look like us.
Yeah. That's all true.
I can't hear him in the back. Is the mic back there? I can't hear shit he's saying.
Yeah, that's what he just said. He just said the white supremacists is the ones who put us in these different categories.
It's not about what you be taught.
They don't want us to learn.
You gotta research it yourself and find out.
Right, they just want you to say
You know what I mean? It's not saying we're not being taught. We ain't taught that.
Let me get some space. Let me get some space.
Come on. Space. Final frontier.
Went to 100 different things since that said. Says you late. You late, sis.
History, like darker skin, melanin skin is I feel like the all and be all. Like we are the first humans on Earth, in my opinion. Right? You can always argue that all day. I'm not arguing that, right? But I am always going to argue oppression. I'm always going to argue when it comes to what we were taught and how we were configured. Now I get people argue we allowed ourselves to be configured. That configuration, excuse me, that is so weird. It's like saying, and I'm sorry for the woman in the room, it's like saying a woman wearing something skimpy allows something to be raped. That's the weirdest shit in the world, in my opinion. Because we didn't allow anything. Things were forced upon us. And because we didn't know. We weren't privy to books and to certain knowledge and the things of that nature. I love your rebuttal.
And David, he would love your rebuttal, by the way.
Can I ask a question, brother?
Very quickly. We're just going to do one.
Are you vaccinated?
Are you vaccinated? No.
You made a choice, right? You made a choice.
2023.
But you made a choice.
In 1920 and 2023, my great-great-grandparents didn't make a choice. You know, I can't work to be in slavery tomorrow, bro.
So what you're saying is, right? What you're saying is, if everybody agreed to be a slave and come from Africa.
Right, so I think you're about to reach far with his answer. He's simply saying at 23, excuse me, y'all. It's telling to me he's simply saying at 23 he had the right to choose not to get the COVID, but he didn't. But older family members didn't have the right to, didn't have a choice to.
How you don't have a, you always have a choice.
For him in his 20s, he had the choice.
You always have a choice.
You talking about back in slavery, they didn't have a choice.
Why didn't you?
Because they would have been beat and killed.
So, okay, so let me ask you this. So you trying to tell me no one tried to escape? Nobody?
Yeah, we heard that.
So they chose, right?
They chose, yeah.
They chose to try to escape.
But what did they
Others
do before they chose to do that?
Others tried to escape, they chose. Others chose to stay. That's it.
Right. Yeah.
How about that?
Right.
How about that? How about that? What you say?
So the thing about black people owning slaves is a misconception though, because they weren't slaves, they were indentured servants, so there was a difference. So we became slaves once we were brought here and forced to do things, right?
Who was born here?
So this, listen. When he was, it's not. Hold up. Most of us was
Who
here.
said all of us?
Most of us was here if we know the true
No,
story.
sir.
Most of us.
No, sir.
If a lot of us check, we not from Africa, and our lineage is not from
So
Africa.
why you start off by saying we was born here then? Why you start off with that?
I'm coming off of what he's saying. So I'm taking what he's saying, right? And what he's trying to say is the ones that were brought here, right? So the first thing
Not
that
at all.
we need to understand is a lot of us weren't forced to be here. A lot of us was by our own people because they saw how indentured servants provided for their I would never say the word master. You understand what I'm saying? But they
The Christian Bible say master.
but that's another condition that they put upon us. That's not.
I can't.
It was a bit exactly. That's what I'm getting at. That's exactly what it was.
John.
Everybody had.
John, right? John and Touche. Let me have some room real quick for the people in the back. you have to be very clear about the things you say. From the rear of the room, it sounded like you gave the suggestion that they had a choice to come and match the house and be slaves, or run up the road and die. Was that what you were meaning?
No. What I was trying to do is make sure people understood that everyone was not a slave, right?
We're talking about the part where you mentioned choices.
But so
you talking about me?
It was David.
I said.
No,
Hold up, wait a minute. I said either you choose to leave or you choose to stay.
I get that.
But you make a choice.
Right, but there was no.
You make a choice.
You gotta also remember that
you make a choice, man.
Let her finish.
Can I please finish?
Let her finish.
Please.
Slavery. Your options are you either take this whip, get your ass whooped, and you be a slave, or you get over here and you die. That's your choice.
That wasn't
so
an easy decision to make.
Let me ask you this. Who was this for?
You didn't answer my question.
Who was that for?
You didn't answer.
Is that for those that came from Africa to here?
My question.
What you say?
So you didn't hear me.
Say it again.
You were busy worrying about what you needed to say.
They want to be smart.
I'm not being smart. I'm not being smart.
Then get your point out. You wasted breath. Get your point out.
She's talking what she's talking and she can't get it out.
What?
Let her get it out.
What your question was? They had the option to be here in this home, be slaves, work, yada yada yada. If they didn't want that, you can go out the door and before you meet the end of the grounds, you're dead. That's not giving me a realistic choice. That's like the people over Hopkins who had the choice to quit your job and never work again, or go ahead and get this vaccine. And if you go over to Hopkins, you find out how many people took the vaccine that didn't like it, that wasn't with it, also realized unemployment only going to give me 6 months.
Okay, so let me ask you this.
I'm not going to have work nowhere else. So they took what was easier.
Hold up.
If you wanted to teach. Exactly.
Well, thank God my daughter had a business, so I didn't take the vaccine because I went in with her.
That's what's
But
up.
if I would have went back to Social Security Administration, it would have been forced on me to have to take the vaccine. But my daughter said, come with me. And I had that option. But if I didn't have her, I was going to take that vaccine and go back to Social Security.
So you chose.
Because I work for Social Security. When they came at us about that option, I told them no. And they kind of forced me to say, okay, you never come back to work. Show me where I'm giving a choice. You didn't give me a choice.
Thank you, sir.
It's a dictatorship
Thank
what they
you.
did.
Thank
I
you.
chose not to do it.
Thank
because
you.
they could not make me do something against will.
Thank you.
We live, quote, in an undictatorship society. If you telling me that I have to do it, that's a dictatorship. Our laws don't work off of that.
But you know what?
No,
Wait
but
a minute, David, let me answer that.
so when they
Your
can,
job without the vaccination.
yes,
You still work there?
yes I do.
See? And you know why?
Congratulations to 1 out of the million.
No. Because he took a stand and said X, Y, and Z.
I'm not telling you.
So if the masses took a stand, guess what? They have to
They do
fold.
the same thing. The masses.
They have to fold.
But what she's saying is before they knew that they could have the option to go somewhere else, that's all the choices that they
But check
had.
this out. When they threatened their
didn't know
brother,
that they could go up north at first. Somebody had to find out. Then once they seen that they could get together, leave. I'm saying what she's trying to explain. The young lady back here.
I hear you.
When they didn't have that choice, had them two choices.
They didn't. They weren't.
So you not a slave now?
They weren't giving it as a choice.
I'm
Only
a
choice
slave.
was lose your job. or
Money.
get the
Are you not a slave now? Is my question.
Yeah, because I don't have enough money to do what I really want to do.
So you went up north, as Kanye said,
Yeah.
you threw it up north and did what?
All
You
right.
moved from one plantation to the next.
Hey.
Huh?
Well, kind
So
of not now.
did you get free?
Yeah, I'm free now because I chose not
How?
to go back.
How, if you still a slave now, as you said, how are you free?
Because I don't have the money.
Huh?
I need the money. Money is the problem.
Is it?
Yeah.
I beg to differ on that one.
Money is power.
Money can be power. It don't dictate happiness, though.
Right, no. I didn't say that. But it will give you some power.
So everything works in your favor according to your working. They always tell you you should vote. Vote. Black people kill him, rock the vote. It went on for I don't know how many years with rock the vote under every rapper.
It said vote or die.
Vote or die was one of the slogans. Like you just had to vote.
Yep.
Then they lined up their offices where they wanted them to. They lined up the gentleman who they told y'all was black from Chicago, who come from him and his wife had a hard living as children, and they beat the odds. But this genius had been writing press letters for president for years prior to him ever being seen. But everybody believed it, and everybody voted for Obama. And even for Obama to be a black president, the biggest thing that he wrote a bill for was the LGBTQ plus community.
He got to represent where he come from.
Which is true. A lot of people don't know that.
He got to represent where he come from.
A lot of people voted for him just to say.
So he begged you in when he was running and said, no, we against it, bop. Then he flipped the script. And because folk love Barry, that's where the money is.
LGBTQ plus. Who?
That's still sucker shit though, yo.
Right.
That's
No,
still
I thought
sucker
you
shit.
said one of the people that's running is LGBTQ.
The biggest misconception about it though, when it comes to what she's saying as far as voting is, once we get what we think we want, we stop the work. We don't hold them accountable. We don't keep our foot on their necks. We think it was easy. Obama had the easiest presidency of anybody because we were just happy that he was there. And that was enough for us. We didn't require anything. The things that we looking for Biden to do for us, we didn't even require this of Obama. Because we were happy enough because he was in office. And that's what the problem is. That's even with, listen, Baltimore's been fucked up for a long time. Mm-hmm. I watched Dominique Wilkins. Grew up in the projects, right? And I want to say in O'Donnell Heights. Mm-hmm. How many people knew that? Mm-hmm. Not a lot of us, right? Mm-hmm. And it's been bad.
I ain't a fan because I did, you know.
It's been bad since then.
Yep.
None of us even knew he grew up in Baltimore City. A lot of us didn't. Well, he wasn't from here because I think he was born in Texas, then they moved to Baltimore. So, say it again? Yeah. But it was one of those things where we still having the same problems, and the people that's been in office for as long as we can remember look like us. And we still got nothing. And a lot of it is because once we got a man, we stopped doing the work. So we didn't require as much from them. So we asking this white man once again to save us, to provide for us, to do all these things for us, but when we put our own people in those positions, that's good enough. That's the crumbs that we can continue to accept.
So,
go ahead.
So being a voter, right, as the more of quote unquote us get in office and play those positions, how was it that we are worse off than we was prior to? It's like the more of us that get in office, the worse it gets.
They bite the apple.
So obviously, that's not the game that should be played.
No, it's on us. It's on us.
So when do those that continue to play the game decide to say, you know what, this is the line in the sand and blah blah blah?
So hopefully, these the type of conversations that make that happen, and that's the purpose of these kind of conversations. Mm-hmm. To open people's eyes to different things, to have them see things through another lens, and stop just accepting the crumbs. Because as long as we continue to just accept the crumbs and be okay with it, and then we feel like we're in a better place, it's not gonna get better. So even if, listen, I came up in a household, and I've had this conversation with y'all because I know neither one of y'all vote. I voted because that's how I was raised, that's how I came up, right? Now, what I decided to do later on in life, as when I became an adult and I started raising my own kids, I decided to do my homework. I'm registered as a Democrat. I'm registered as a Democrat. I'm registered as a Democrat, but that don't mean I'm always gonna vote Democrat because I had a stepfather that was a Republican. He was a staunch Republican.
You had a man in the house.
That was totally different.
You had a man in the house.
They looked at things totally different from my mom.
Democrats are men too.
A female, but go ahead.
I ain't no female.
But Democrats that are male.
Check this out. You know why you're not female? Because you say this year I ain't voting at all.
But that's the thing, because they don't have nothing on the table that's worth me voting for. Unless somebody come out and say, hey, listen, this is what we doing, this is where we going. But it's still up to us, the voter, to hold them accountable. And unless we hold them accountable, we can't keep complaining. And you asked the question earlier about, are we happy or are we okay with what Biden is doing? Mm-hmm. No.
Somebody said, why don't you run for office?
I ain't there yet.
There you go.
I gotta get my closet clean first.
You gonna do
It
what?
don't matter because they
My
get
closet gotta be
way
clean.
They go 100
Not that
years
closet.
back deep. They gonna bring
Not
it
that
out.
closet.
They gonna
No,
bring
but-
the
no,
closet.
no,
Hold up,
out.
time out. But the one thing I learned from Trump being president is, no matter right, wrong, or indifferent, they stand with each other. They stand with each other. That's the one problem that we have. We don't stand. We turn on each other so quick. And I take this because somebody put a quote out about Sha'Carri Richardson, right? Her mother died. She smoked weed. She got disqualified, and we turned on her first. It's a lot. Sha'Carri Richardson. We turned on her first. We was the people sitting at home making the memes. We should, all of that stuff. We holding her accountable.
I said she should have got that woo-wee. That would have really made her ass run fast. She had the wrong shit.
That's not how it works.
Not at all. That's from a non-smoker.
that's not. Go ahead.
I just want to say, there's a lot of layers that you guys need to peel first before you get to the conversation you're having.
Yeah.
You have to first of all talk about who the white people you're actually talking about.
Yep.
Because the white people you're talking about, you have your anger directed at the wrong white people.
The wrong white people.
Okay? Because when you're talking about the people in Oklahoma, rural Wisconsin, all those people don't care about black people. They just want, and again, a lot of black people sitting down here, you're all conservatives. Really. Because black people, we are conservatives in nature, by nature. So when people talk about Trump, and you talk about Biden, I'm not from here. I'm from Nigeria. Mm-hmm. But I'll tell you something. When I see black people vote for Biden, it makes me sad. Because Biden was the one that wrote the 98 bill that put a lot of black people in prison.
Yes.
So you're going to look at Trump that has never been in government before, but the media has programmed people to hate him with so much passion that you guys don't even see. Then you look back and say, who controls the system? Baltimore City, like when you guys are talking about the school system, yes, parents don't really care, because if you care, you will know what they are teaching your kids in school.
Thank you.
Which is the LGBTQ. I took my kids out of city.
Yeah.
Because I had a teacher telling my boy that it was wrong for him he had to date a transgender person. This was in the height of COVID. So when people talk about statistics or data, that don't mean nothing.
Nothing, yeah.
It's just what we've been programmed by the media. So first thing we need to do is take that TV and throw it out.
Yeah.
And look within our community to see what we can do. That's the bottom line.
And I said that weeks ago. It all comes back to us.
Nicole asked that. Nikki asked that question last week too.
Yeah, it comes like I say it all the time. Listen, I was an avid voter. We're gonna see how this year goes, but it still comes back to us and how we can make the community better. And if we are not willing, see, when you had Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, we talked about those things, right? When you had people willing to die for a cause, right? Even if you don't believe in the cause, you had people that were willing. We don't have people like that no more on the front line. We don't have people that are willing to sacrifice it all. And that's what it takes to correct this system. You have to be willing to sacrifice it all. And sometimes that is with a life. And we don't have those people.
I disagree with that.
Go ahead.
Because you got folks that are sacrificing their life every day for no cause.
But they don't understand that though.
So you have those, they're there. They are there. You have to reach out to them because they are there.
Where?
Where?
The black educators, so-called black educators, and some of the so-called white educators who are aware of the truth, who are teaching in these schools, who are doing what they can to educate children on the truth.
But they all follow a curriculum that is created by...
I used to be an educator, and I ain't follow no curriculum, because I know the truth.
So let me ask you this question.
The thing is
the biggest thing you just said is...
That's why Uber got a problem.
The
curriculum is set at a baseline.
But the biggest thing you just said is, I used to be an educator.
You can take...
What got you out of education?
What got me out of the classroom was because they was trying to force me to take the vaccination, and I wasn't with that shit. Now, that didn't stop me from continuing my work with youth and supporting educators. So I'm just saying it brought me out of the classroom.
Out of the classroom.
You get what I'm saying? But like 2 weeks ago, you talked about mentorship and things like that. Yeah. So these are the things where we still need people. Those are the front liners.
Absolutely.
The Frederick Douglass said, you can't repair broken men. It's easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. So we can't worry about trying to change the minds of grown people. We got to focus on the children because they are literally the future.
Agreed. Agree with that. But that's what he was saying. That's where the mentorship is important. Yeah, no, yeah. But that's why the mentorship is important.
But you know what too? Speaking of what he just said, right? I can remember dropping a mentee off to his father. It's like 2 weeks before school, we go school shopping and stuff together. And you'll threaten me, man, right off of Mount Street. Right? And I knew where it was coming from, so I said, you know what, y'all just enjoy your evening. I'll talk to you later, you know what I mean? And their relationship grew from that moment. But had I been someone that reacted off of what he said, it wasn't beneficial.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But what you're saying, what he said is true. The men are raising the boys, and when they come into that masculine energy, you tried it. Come on, man. You know what I mean? I brush it off, you know. And right now, they are wonderful. You know what I mean? Yeah.
But he felt threatened.
Absolutely.
Because, so this is the thing. You got weaker men a lot of times feel threatened when they see a man in their presence. Especially when those men are around their boys.
But is he weaker though?
Yes, mentally he is.
He's weaker.
He's absolutely is.
What do you mean is he weaker? Yes.
Because see that's a part of the poison in Baltimore City.
The comment was
okay, so
wait a minute, I'm gonna ask the teacher a question. Did you just say is he weak? He is weaker when he see another man around his child.
The presence of
that male. David, you asked, is he weaker though?
Is he weaker or he don't know how to engage in that arena? Doesn't make him weak, but he don't know how to respond.
So here's my thing.
Come on.
Here's my thing. It's your child. Flat out, it's your kid.
Sure.
The mother has a boyfriend, husband. She can't fucking Santa Claus if she wants.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, this is my child.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna clothe, bathe, feed, X, Y, Z for this kid. Now look, sis, you gonna have to come to agreement. Look, bruh, I know you live here, but we all know that these are my children. We all know that I come here taking care of my kids. Now what we gonna do? I think falling back.
They weren't in the same house though.
But it showed him falling.
They weren't in the same
Him
house.
falling back and not taking the bait showed a different kind of strength, and that's what a lot of people don't understand. So we as black people a lot of times are so reactive, and sometimes that reaction dictates the outcome. Sometimes positive, sometimes negative. Right? Him walking away created something that now, if they would have fought in the street. If they would have fought in the street, nothing would have changed. But because he walked away, it showed a different kind of strength as a man. Because most of men that are encountered by men that in that kind of aggressive nature, if you overreact or if you become violent or something like that, then at that moment you show your weakness too, right? But the strength you showed by walking away taught that boy and his father something that they had never probably seen before. Because if he came from a broken home, or if he came from a two-parent home where there was confrontation and there was a reaction, then that's what they were being conditioned to.
Well, I didn't say stay ahead of confrontation. What I'm saying is to stay in your ground on this is my child. A lot of times they can do it as you being humble, unconfrontational, and walking away and leave the child thinking like, I ain't even worth him saying 2 words about.
But sometimes saying no words shows more strength to a child than anything else. Yeah,
but we're talking about a child who don't know better.
But hold on. If David would have reacted, guess what that child would have did the next time he was confronted with the same kind of energy?
So David can come along and
he would have, that child would have then reacted the same way David would have reacted if they would have fought in the streets.
Yeah. So I ain't
you got somebody behind you with their hand up.
But I'm just saying, making the
Oreos, the gentleman with the Oreos, right? You walk past him already. Yeah, right there. Take it.
I was just asking, is there a line that can be crossed so you know how like every action has a reaction, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna be a big person. I'm gonna fall back. Where is that line? Is like, all right, cool, that's too much. Is it hitting your child, or is it teaching him things that because like you said, one thing you just said was we don't live in the same house. So where is the line? Where's the basis of like, all right, now that's a lot. Because we all grew up in we're part of our environment. We all grew up in different homes with different teachings. You know what I mean? Some of us with father, some without. So where do you draw a line like, all right, man, I want my kid on the game this much. You have the argument where you can say, well, let him live with you. Or you have, there's a lot of variables in the situation. Nobody can be right. We just get our opinion. But
I think everybody's line is different. And it depends on where you are in your progression, right? Because the 25-year-old David would have fought his ass in the street. You understand what I'm saying? The grown-up David, he now can make that decision and feel comfortable in that decision where he walks away. So I think it depends a lot on the time and where you are in your progression. Because I think all of us at one point in time will react one way. But now, as you're raising children and have raised children, now sometimes you don't gotta meet that energy. You get more from not meeting that energy than you will ever get from meeting that energy at this stage in your life.
And you know what? To answer your question, literally, I think it was more the fact of because his father he dipping down in the street, so he getting high, he off and on, he renting a room. I'm dropping his son off with bags of clothes for school. You know what I mean? Right there by what's the joint? That little bar off of North and Fulton. This is bar right there. He live right across the street from there. And I think the fact of him seeing that and that he's still able to do, but I'm not doing this, frustrated him, I guess. I don't know.
Most of the time it's insecurity.
Sure. Oh, it's definitely.
In a place that you're not.
Sure.
You might be strong.
Right.
But most of the time it comes to the measuring point.
Right.
You ain't gonna tell my son to do this, but I ain't gonna do this.
Yeah.
Why you skinny jeans on? Right? That's why you know what I'm saying? That's always
Right.
You let him do this. When I was growing up, I couldn't. You know, it's always what you go back to.
Absolutely.
My father would have never worked. So that's like a big thing. So I was just wondering, you know.
Is there a line?
So I tell people all the time, I had a cheat code, right? Because my father lived on Fulton Avenue. My father was a crackhead. Huh? No. Look, so my biological father was a crackhead, and I've watched him beat people to a pulp. You know what I mean? I watched him react. But then my stepfather, when he came into my life, the first thing my father wanted to do was fight him, like they always do, right? But my stepfather handled it totally different. So he called the house, he threatened my stepdad, and all my stepdad said was, all my stepdad said was, just make sure I'm home when you come over, right? And he left it there. My biological father never showed up. You understand what I'm saying? Now, he died when I was in the 10th grade. You know, so my impressionable years were more with my stepdad, who was a black dude. He was 6'5", 320. He was a big dude. He was a Republican that listened to rock and roll, and we grew up at that time around Old York and Cave. He was totally different than when I walked outside my house. But because I had that kind of strength where, yeah, he had to grab a few people up in our face, but it was also a lesson behind it. Because I came out see it from two different perspectives, right? So that was a cheat code for me. So I eat your energy, but I also know how to give you your moment and be a man and walk away. Because the hardest thing for a man to do is walk away from a confrontation. Because you eat, and you feel challenged as a man, right? So as a boy, even though you're older, or you're classified by the laws of being a man, you still think as a boy. So your reactions are that of a boy. But once you become a man and you're in control of yourself, then you can make those decisions, choices to walk away and save that fight for a different day. Because I'm going to always go home to my kids, right? But if I'm protecting my kids, you're not going home. And that's the choice, right? And so we all have those moments where we got to define ourselves and what we want to get out of life. I've been, as a mentor, man, you get threatened more than you will ever think. Because the first thing people want to say to you is attack. The first thing they want is they think that you're only doing this to get with the mothers or at the mothers and all that kind of stuff. And realistically, my job for females is I want to show a child that I can love her without conditions. Because most of the people in her life love her with conditions. I'm with your mother. There's a relationship. There's a lot of fathers that walk out of their children's life. It's a lot of bad mothers too, but there's a lot of fathers that walk out their children's life because they can't control what the mother does do anymore, right? And that's a lot of the confrontation. We like to blame the mothers a lot, you know what I mean, in the confrontation and stuff like that. But a lot of times it's just because you lost. She took your foot off her pedal, and you don't have that control no more. And that's what it boils down to. So then when you see a mentor or something like that, like we get threatened probably more than anybody else because you don't know what our reason for being a mentor is. I saw what it looked like growing up in West Baltimore, Shake and Bake, Pennsylvania Avenue. I saw what that life was like. So my mother thought when she moved us to East Baltimore, she was moving us up in the world. I could walk 3 blocks and be in a white neighborhood where it was big houses, big cars, big trees, you know what I mean, clean, and then come right through a cut, and I'm back on Greenmount Avenue, and I'm like, how the hell did this change that fast?
And I don't want to get off subject.
Yeah.
What about the narrative of, you know, your kid growing up, and it's not my situation, but I'm just for conversation purposes.
Yeah.
What about the child growing up in a situation where the stepfather, is just as bad as the dad or worse?
Oh, that happens a lot.
Think about, you know, like, all right, cool. Maybe I cheated on your mom, but I never beat her. But now you're in a situation where now your mom beats her. Or things of that nature.
So get beat, yeah.
So what would you tell one of your mentees? Like, hey, like Because these young kids, they pulling straight.
So,
Guns more than older dudes.
Baby sleep with one eye open.
it's funny because my father was abusive. My biological father was extremely abusive. I have an older brother that'll beat the shit out of a woman, and I hate it. I will never strike a woman. You know what I mean? So, and that's just, we grew up in the same house, but we react to the situations different because I looked at the feeling on my mother's face, where my brother looked at how my father felt dominant after the fact. You know what I mean? And so those things kind of scar you too, and you find moments in those that you like, you have one that likes the power, but I get power from comforting the people around me and making sure everybody else is safe.
We just comment over here.
I tell you this, right? During a mentoring program, I've had a lot of the mothers that try to come on, try to push up, this, that, the other. And my thought process was, wow, that's a quick high for myself. I gotta see this dude every day. How can I look at him every day? And he saw me come to his mother's house late in the evening and leave, and you know what I mean? He know what it is. He ain't slow by fault. He know
It's the same thing. That's what I was gonna do.
Same thing, yo.
Because I'm a football coach
yep.
too, so.
Same thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. So that's when you gotta cut ties and you deal with, even you may run to a family issue, right? But he see that you run to the family issue. He don't see me run to his mom, this, that, the other, or some other expedition. You know what I mean? No, not at all.
But that's because also, go ahead.
The thing is, to your point in addressing that, the child or the mentee is going to lose the
Respect of the child.
Yes, sir.
The best thing that you can do in those situations is just be the example. That's why we need more men that look like us who are mentoring or just being visible.
And being just that.
For them, because the statistics show that so-called black men are the #1 victims and perpetrators of homicide, and that most of our children from our community are, they look at us as every black man that's come into my life has neglected me, abused me, disrespected me,
touch my mother.
You know what I'm saying? So the only thing you can do is establish healthy boundaries and be the example and show them that this is not how we all are.
Come on, man.
You get what I'm saying?
Come on, man.
But those mothers are also dealing with trauma and things of that themselves too. So
it is a very thin line.
I take pride in not speaking on women's issues, but you got to understand where a lot of women that came up in those same neighborhoods that we came up in, they always got something with a condition. So those mothers that hit on the mentors feel like, I have to give you something because why you loving my son like that for no reason? Because they don't understand it either. So now, as a mentor, training the children, you are also working with the parents. And that's on both sides, mother and father. Because you're going to be met with so many obstacles as a mentor because of the conditions of the neighborhoods that they grew up in, or the household, or what they've seen growing up. So if you fall victim to those same things, then all you're doing is perpetuating
the same thing that's always
what society is.
So before we get ready to go, let me ask a question. Take a turn and say, what would you do in a situation now with these young people in order to mentor, set examples, to turn things around? What you see them doing? Do you go up to them? Do you speak? Do you tell them it's a better way? What things do you take on yourself?
Well, the most important thing with my kids is financial literacy. Before all of that other stuff, because if you understand the finances, you can control your narrative no matter what. We all come from something that was broken. Home, family issues, we all come from it. So we all have, people like to say, I don't have the same opportunities as others. What that means though, in a lot of instances, is that we are not given a free ticket, but our opportunities are a lot of the same. We just gotta make the choice of how to, because I see your face. I see you. So when I say that, what I mean is that we all go to school, right? We all got a chance to get an education. Even if we gotta pay and we come out and we still owe the man money, right? We still have to figure out how far we want to take that. Me, I'm not a college guy. I don't believe in that institution, right? And it worked for some people. I feel like learning a trade is something that they can never take from you. And once you control that narrative and you learn your finances, then you are in control of your narrative. Now, with their education system, that's another broken system because you come out of the education system owing so much money, then you start selling your soul and accepting jobs that can pay that stuff back just so you can get ahead. But if you get a trade and you learn a skill and you take those skills and then you build on those skills, then you have a sort of control. Entrepreneurship is probably the biggest way to free yourself and family, but we've been conditioned to go to college.
I think between entrepreneurship and homeschooling were two great ideas.
So, but homeschooling can be tricky because it depends on what you're teaching that child at the home. Yeah. So that part, it can get kind of tricky there. But a skill that's learned can never be taken away. A skill that is learned can never be taken away.
With the homes, go ahead. Go ahead.
Do you still take the same standardized test as a kid in school?
No. You actually move pretty quick, but it's still a curriculum. Even if you bring your kids, it's still a
built curriculum. That curriculum.
It is.
Yeah,
it's still a curriculum, and people don't understand that. That's why I say it can be tricky. Because if you pick the wrong curriculum, you still setting your children up. If you teaching your children that right there. Oh my God.
First black, be the first black.
So I used to brag on that because in my house I was the first one to go to graduate high school because my brother, when I was in high school, went to prison. He was 16 years old. He went to prison for murder.
Lucky y'all.
So, but he was conditioned and he took all the steps that my biological father did. So he was already broken. Even when my stepfather came into the household, it was still too late for him. But because he went to prison, that showed me, and I made some mistakes. Don't get it twisted. I made a lot of mistakes, but it showed me by my brother going to prison. I think him going to prison kept me out of prison.
Yeah. When you see that,
so I was able to learn from that example, even though it was a bad example.
Yeah.
I knew what I didn't want to do. My mother, I got into a fight and I got arrested. There was a whole bunch of stuff going on. And my mother let me sit for 30 days. Every time my brother got into trouble, she bailed this motherfucker out. And I understand why she made me sit. But in her mind, I'm not doing this shit again. In my mind, I'm like, how the fuck my mother let me sit? I ain't even do nothing. I won the fight. She the one that sent me out to my first fight.
Because you should have learned from
the first time that you couldn't handle sitting in there.
And now, but my two younger brothers went to college, graduated.
Homeschooling.
I just wanted to, your point about homeschool, because I took my kids out of city during COVID. And city is supposed to be a prestigious school, but when they were teaching them the LGBTQ stuff, I took my kids out, and right now I have 2 master's degrees. Like you just said, it's worth nothing.
Yeah.
I rather, like my sons right now, my first finished high school, homeschooling, is learning how to change tires, fix cars. Wants to be. A lot of our kids right now are being brainwashed into this, indoctrinated in the school system. And that is where, when we start to talk about all these black-white issues, you got to look at who they are pushing. In the 60s and 70s, it was all white people going to school, and they told black people, you know what, you have to go to school to get ahead. Yep. You got into school, the job's paying right now, you come out with a master's degree, you're paying $54,000. That's the starting salary. Yeah. You know, so we have to, I'm a probation officer, right? Mm-hmm. So right now I train a lot of inner city kids, the concept of being able to be men. Because I'm not someone that advocates for college. Because right now college is just a dumping ground and it's just a center.
It's money. It's money.
All day long.
There's no reason why, this is what I said years ago. There's no reason why you should go to college and it's $40,000. By the time you pay it off, you paid $140,000. The system is broken, and that's how they stay ahead, and that's how we stay behind.
Because capitalism is running society.
It's working how they designed it. You're right.
It's about capitalism, and it's about them making money. And as long as they can get you to sign up to get those student loans, it's very predatory. And it's the whole concept is around keeping you in debt so they can keep making money, so they can continue with the racism, continue with the slavery in the shadows of capitalism. That's what we living in.
And the unfortunate part is
that
the
needs
kids
to
that
be
lose.
dismantled.
How many of us in here have sat at a job
part is the children
and
that
had to
lose.
train somebody to do the job that we qualified for? It's a lot of us.
Had to what? I'm sorry, Tisha.
How many of us just sitting in here right now, went to school, got the education, got a job, and then trained somebody that was younger than you, that somebody else brought in from out of the street to do the job that you knew you was qualified for? All of us went through that. And that shows the broke.
I did.
A lot. I'm sorry.
I did go through.
I'm gonna use the word. The majority of us.
There you go.
women.
You don't say that because I don't know who your friends are, sir. I don't know who your friends are, so you can't say that. You know what I mean?
But that's the reality, and that's why I think financial literacy is very important, and I think a skill set. Now I'm gonna tell you this: when you watch your child grow up, you find out what type of child you have. Your child, we break most of our children from their youth when we send them in a direction. Because kids growing up tell you, you know you got a kid that loves playing with blocks, building things. We get them away from that stuff. You have artistic kids that want to draw, paint, and do all this stuff as kids, but what we do, if you draw my wall one more goddamn time, I'm going to whip your ass. That's the first thing we do. Your artists don't make this, and that's the thing, but they're showing us their visions as children, and we coach them out of them a lot of times. You know what I mean? And that's where the system also breaks out households. That's why I said it depends on you, what you give to your kids.
It's the fact that the people allow the system to break their household.
I'm gonna say something that my baby girl over here always say: nature versus nurture. If you allow nature to take its course, when you see a child who has a passion for something, and you allow them to cultivate that passion, versus you trying to nurture them into being a nurse or going to school for criminal justice. Like, I'm sick of that. Like, all of our community want to go to school for criminal justice or nursing. And, this is not, I'm not,
Knocking
shaming
nobody,
anybody who's in that field. But the thing is, there are so many other things that we need our people involved in and knowledgeable on. And there's kids who have that passion, but it's constantly shut down because of their environment, the conditions that they're growing up in, and there's not enough exposure to other things outside of that. So
we grew up watching, it is fear, it's mainly fear. Yeah. It's not fear, it's the truth. But we grew up watching the Cosby Show. You had a doctor and a lawyer, which is damn, but they put that in our heads at that point. Oh, it can be done. They look like us and they did it, why we can't do it?
Is it damn near impossible though?
So it's not damn near impossible. $100,000.
You got the degree though.
they ain't never getting that back.
So I went to Mervo. I went to Mervo, right? I went to Mervo.
That's what the man went, right?
Okay.
That's what the man went, right?
So, but coming out of Mervo, I was an accounting major, dog, because don't do that. I ain't even gonna start on it. I tried to do the wave of it, then I couldn't do it. So I was an accounting major because if I see a number, numbers just been my game since I was a child. And so that game came easy to me. But one day I woke up and I was like, dog, a certain time every day, this is just not, and I felt more comfortable, even though I can do the numbers easy, I felt more comfortable putting my hands on stuff. I felt more comfortable leading people into becoming builders and more active in doing other things and seeing things from a different place. So that's where I felt my, but my mother, if it was her, I had to check and working at the IRS as a senior in high school.
So why you gonna choose lawyers? Because
School, when we went to Merville, a lot of our other friends went to zone schools.
like myself. Go ahead.
But those of us who got into Merville, City, Poly, things like that, we looked at the difference like, yo, why are you acting like you better than the rest of us? Speaking of myself, when I was in school, I was making more money than my teachers. I had Social Security because my father passed. I had a work study. Is it still considered work study?
Work study.
I had work study. I worked at the supermarket. And I was in these streets. But I never let one dictate what the hell I was going to be.
What's the next? Yeah.
Once I learned what I was doing in school, I was like, okay, this is this, that. When I was in my 10th grade year, I was being scouted for Florida to play football. But then I was like, I really want to go down here, play football, but be broke. So I said, excuse my language, I said, fuck football. Fell into the streets, lucky. Those dudes that I was following behind, I learned to do what they didn't do. How to hide my money, how to do this and third. When I got older, I had a kid at 24 years old. I didn't know what the hell to do. But I was scared. I was like, but I'm not falling behind my father. I'm not falling behind my stepfather. I'm going to teach my kid how to do X, Y, Z. The mom hated me once we had a kid. She wanted to give my daughter up for adoption. I said, okay, you want to give her adoption, give her to me. She feared giving her to me than giving her up for adoption because I basically wanted more. But that's not what I came up under. Got older, and a lot of people who know me can tell you, if it comes to a kid, I don't give a damn what I got going on. I'll lose out on any and everything because a kid to me really don't have a choice. But if an adult does it, adult has a choice. I'm not perfect example. When a baby cries, they can't talk, but they know how to cry to get your attention. They may want milk, they may want water, whatever, food, whatever it gets to be. But adults can come up to them and tell you what the hell they want. It's a lot of misconceptions about black men for one reason or another. A lot of people can probably tell you like this. I'm raising a child right now that's not my daughter. She say can vouch for this. I never met the father, but I guarantee the father knows about me and probably scared as shit of what I would do if me and her paths crossed. And sad to say, I'm not a killer to put me in that situation. I ain't a killer, but don't push me. And what's going on with our community right now is a lot of miscommunication. It's a lot of, like you said, we put this in somebody's back, hey, you carry it to here. Then they stop. Then we get mad because they didn't go any further. Okay, so why can't we pick up 10 to 20 and somebody pick up 20 to 30 keep going? We won't do that. I don't know why the fuck we won't do that. Like I keep thinking back to the days. How the hell did we go from Kings? Like I wish I could go back in time to see that moment when we lost every damn thing.
How we go from kings to dummy? To dummy. What's up, dummy? And we talking.
I don't care.
You know what I mean?
I don't get that slang. I don't like the word dummy either because it's one of those terms that just it rubbed me wrong. It don't sit right with me. You know what I mean? And the fact that that's a term of endearment now, and throughout Baltimore, throughout the world right now, because everybody talks about the Baltimore slang. Everywhere you go, oh, you must be from, because I can hear it in you and all of that. But yeah, it's crazy because a word such as that, people don't know the power of words. And a word like that allows us to be, it allows us to conform. You know what I mean? And it puts us in a place where of acceptance. So if you accept somebody calling you a dummy, what else were you going to accept from them?
You got a page on IG right now that says Baltimore dummy something. And they got videos beyond videos.
I don't even know about that page.
Oh.
I do not follow it.
I
I'm
don't
gonna
watch
tell
any
you.
of them. Most of the stuff y'all put in the group text, I don't watch.
And watch this. I don't follow it, but I saw it. I was just like, wait a minute.
Because it's become
I think that's the dumbest
a thing.
saying they could have created.
It's become a thing, and everybody now is so. When we were growing up, being in the streets was the thing, because everybody thought quick money,
But
the
you still
fast
wasn't
money,
the
it was
dummy.
the thing to do, right?
You still wasn't
So
the dummy.
a lot of people fell into that trap, and now social media has become that same trap for a lot of our youth, because they don't care about being educated. They don't care about the grind. They don't care about the work you got to put in. They want to get the likes. They want to get the notoriety. They want people to see them. Go ahead.
They don't care about the money no more. They care about the street cred.
It's the credit.
Yeah, they don't even care about the money.
Such just gotta know. They gotta know that I killed somebody. They gotta know that I will kill somebody. They gotta know that I'm coming down there if I don't belong on this block. Now it's about the street cred.
Yeah, it is.
It ain't about no money. They spend the money quick as they can.
Like it was more like,
We gotta get the money.
when you ain't coming out, we got, everybody wanted to, have something.
Yeah.
Because, back in the day when people that was doing dirt, they didn't want nobody to know that they were doing dirt.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like, yo, settle, don't speak
It
my
take
name,
you
don't
forever.
say
Oh,
Now they
my money.
taking pictures on other people's cars, laying money
Come on,
out.
microphone,
Now you
baby.
want to be in court.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody telling you.
got my
You
mic.
told on you.
Yep.
And the reason
The batteries in there.
Yeah.
the reason for us is not, just saying,
I took it to play in school.
you know what I mean? Exactly. You know what I mean? A lot of people, you're not doing it. Not saying it's right at all, so I'm not saying that change, but a lot of times back then, people don't have to get a family, they had sibling increase.
You know why I became wrong though? Because see, when my father and them was in the street, my father used to run numbers, right? But the people that controlled the numbers, the people that controlled the drug trade, right, took care of the neighborhood. They took care of the neighborhoods. The neighborhood stayed clean. Now there was violence, but it wasn't like it is now. And what Biden did in '94, when the stop and frisk and all these laws that they changed and stuff like that, what it did is it put a spotlight on all of that, and it took people to a place where now, now it was shied upon. Nobody wanted to do it. Nobody wanted to be known for it. But it was really one of those things where the people that really did it the right way. Now it was maybe the wrong thing, but they made sure. But they made wrong reasons. Yeah.
But you ain't those.
Should be doing the wrong thing for the right reason.
Yeah.
But they doing the right thing for the wrong reason.
Yeah.
You had those same men that was pushing in the community and said, well, give it to little Joe Blow, because he ain't gonna catch no charge.
But see, that was our age group. The ones that came before us didn't do that.
This is what I'm talking about.
I remember.
That's what I'm talking about.
I remember when the first murder I saw, I was 10 or 11 years old.
He's right.
The same guy that I saw laying on the street dead was the person that kept the kids off the corners. He was the person that would not allow us to go what we call up top. So he stopped all of us from going up there. But once they killed him in the neighborhood, and then his best friend and them that kind of ran the crew went to prison, then there was no rules no more. So then everybody was out in the streets with no laws and no rules to abide. And that's what changed the system here where we are now, where everything you do is you pick up a gun.
I feel what you're saying, right?
Not quite.
Go ahead.
Back in the day, if you were doing dirt, there's two rules you never broke. I don't care who you were. No women, no kids.
Yep.
I don't give a damn what somebody did to you. You gave him a pass on Sunday.
Get it wrong,
So,
People felt, I don't care who you were, you could be that top gangster.
right.
You see somebody cross you,
Yep.
you fear touching that person on a Sunday.
Absolutely.
But
So,
You feel the
so what
power
would you
of
say
God
then?
touching that person on
The
the Sunday.
men in our era refuse absolutely. There's by no code. Ain't no different code. It's no code.
no, back in my day, we had a code.
Yeah, in your day, but as that time period changed,
Fish don't hold no weight.
there is no code at all. At all. And watch this. Is it a code if I flood the neighborhood with drugs but feed them turkeys on Thanksgiving? Is that a code?
See,
Bro, it
so
is.
I was speaking before that time though, but
Talk to
because
me.
it wasn't just about feeding the neighborhood with, it was making sure
That one day.
it was making sure that Miss Bessie
Easter eggs.
lights was on.
You can't correct that
It made
though,
sure,
Touche.
no, listen to what I'm saying.
Talk
He
to
said
me.
It was making sure that Miss Bessie was always good. It was making sure that when a lady got out the car, the kids in the neighborhood was grabbing and helping her carry her bags in the house. So it was rules and it was laws. But once they started
But
sending,
why she need protection to carry her groceries?
it wasn't about protection though. That's what I'm saying. It wasn't about protection. It was about
so you would
making
say,
sure.
to a certain extent, Touche, that it was a hood politeness.
Yeah, to a point. Yeah.
You see the kids all playing right here at the corner store, but you know some shit may jump
Flood
up.
the
Y'all go in
community
down the
with
street,
drugs.
because it's going to get ugly.
Because,
Drugs to white folks.
say it again.
When I sold drugs, I only sold drugs to white folks.
Hey, respect.
Because I understand the old school. I grew up,
Sure.
I was always the youngest. I'm probably the youngest here.
Yeah.
I always respected the OGs and the way they did shit, but I was like, yo, y'all ain't, like you said, you gonna sell drugs to everybody mama, but then you gonna give away food and
Thank
shit.
you.
Like, nah, take this shit on
Right.
there because they want shit.
Yep.
So let's just go ahead and fuck up their shit and keep our shit intact.
There you go.
I ain't into that like no more, but I'm
Yeah.
just saying.
But it was rules
Right,
that
right.
you didn't keep, you didn't, listen, it was rules where you didn't get high off your own supply. And
No women and
you
children.
never kept stuff in your house. All of that changed when the older heads got sent to prison,
Don't
when
shit- don't
they
shit when you
started
sleep.
dying off and stuff like that.
Which
And
generation-
this
which
is the funniest
generation was
thing. This was before us. These guys they would have probably been in their 60s, maybe early 70s now. Now, the thing about it was, it's a lot of murders in Baltimore City that have not been solved because they were committed by police
That
to
too.
take control
Or scam
of
ass.
the nation, huh?
Or somebody in the mask, man. Everybody not police. That's
Same
doing,
thing.
that's doing, it's
Same
the same shit, but they ain't police though.
No, but you're right about
They're
that.
police affiliated.
But even
Mhm.
Malcolm was killed by an insider that betrayed
His own
his
inside.
that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
And so what it was
No, be
was,
clear. His own inside.
but that's the point I'm making. So there was always a weak link in the crew.
In every crew,
That
there's
in every crew. And so what they did is they took advantage of those moments. But what the people that was the weak link didn't
Jesus had
understand,
insight.
even as we can go back to how Nipsey got killed, if we want to bring it back to this time. That happened from somebody that was from his own gang. That was his own people. But they knew he was broken and he could be used
to do it.
to do it. You understand what I'm saying?
So now
because
at
they
this point
saw
being,
what he was doing for the community. He was building a community up. Slauson that had been down for years.
So Nikki gone. I wanted to bring her a question to make her
You
watch.
been to Slauson?
Yeah.
Huh?
You been to Slauson?
That's another conversation.
So before we go, wrap up. Let me ask this: what advice would each person give to another parent on what they can do with their young children? If you don't have children, beg to differ.
I think you should allow their visions to grow. That would be my number one thing. Allow their visions to grow. Because your kids tell you at an early age what they want to do and what they want to be.
Then you know
And I
what?
think you should
Go
hold
get
on
corner
to
over
it.
here. Look like they don't. Miss Compton ain't saying nothing. Listen.
You are not their friend.
You are
Yes.
definitely not their friend.
Yes.
That's definitely
Yes.
no.
Yeah.
Once you lose
But you gotta be that catalyst though. You don't have to be that friend, but you gotta be that catalyst.
Stop putting that middle part.
You know what you had.
You are not that friend.
Yeah.
That's the
But
problem.
you gotta be careful how you said, no, I'm not your friend, but a lot of old schoolers though, they have no right to express themselves.
I'm not saying that though. But when it comes to disciplinary, when it comes to addressing issues, I'm not your friend.
When it comes to them sparking the butt
Yeah.
and passing it to you.
They get you comfortable.
Yeah, they do. Sure.
Yeah.
You got
You
something?
gonna say something, Noah?
Oh.
Oh, you stood up. I thought you wanted to say something.
Stop telling kids to stop asking why.
That's the worst thing in the world to do.
Because when children ask why, they're asking out of a genuine curiosity.
Yep.
And it's early on that why is what gets us thinking and gets
And
us
worked out.
trying to
Understand, yep.
society more. So when you stop asking me, don't ask me why.
So can you say it's certain whys?
No, I would say any why. Allow them to ask and give a genuine answer. And if you don't know,
If you-
be
example.
able to say, I don't know, but I'll get back to you with that.
Only reason I said certain whys is because you have a child. You're in the kitchen, the child in the kitchen. The pan on the stove, you say, let me go and get this pan off. But you turn your back to get pads. The child don't know you get pads. So the child go to reach for the pot. Now he burnt.
You just
Then
learned
you go
about it.
ask, why didn't you wait for the pots? Well, Dad, I didn't know. When I said why, you turned your back. Some whys are necessary to keep you from doing idiotic shit.
But that's why you explain.
No, that's what he's saying.
Yeah,
He's
you
saying
gotta
stop
explain.
telling them, because most parents be like, stop asking me why.
Right.
Stop asking me why.
Right, so he says-
he's saying answer the why.
Oh, answer the
Yeah.
whys.
Yeah.
Okay.
The worst thing a parent can
In the
say is
beginning, he
because I
said,
said so.
stop asking the why.
Because I said so is the worst thing a parent can say.
Yes, ma'am.
A step further, you can challenge them to ask themselves why. They can answer their own why.
A lot of times they can, yeah.
They
They
can.
don't always know why, but if you're teaching children to think for themselves, that's one less thing you have to do for them.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then contingent upon what that why is, then y'all can open the door to a whole other conversation.
Yep.
Now, the downside to that, right? Because there's always an upside and a downside.
True.
I personally, I have 4 children. My youngest daughter wants to be a boy. She identifies as a boy. So that's where you are? Okay. I'm not calling you a boy. I'm not calling you him or he or none of that. You still my baby. I still respect you as such. But because I allow that growth and you to be who you are, now the disconnection is she don't fuck with me at all, right? And I have to live in a space where that's my baby girl, right? But I still have to allow her to be who she is. And however fucked up what comes from this, because I'm still gonna be her father in the interim and in the end. But I still have to be the guy that picks up the bullshit from what she decided to do or decided to do.
This world is gonna come back crazy.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Sir.
Don't impose your feelings of failure on your kids.
Absolutely.
Because you couldn't do it, don't mean they can't.
Yep.
A
True.
lot of times,
True.
Don't impose your fears and failures onto the kids.
What you got?
I wanted to address, I just wanted to address what you just
Come
said.
on.
First of all, I'm going to assume where did she get that thought to be a guy? But that would be first.
School.
I know. So for
School.
you to change the mindset of her, right?
Yep.
It's a hard pill to do.
Yes.
But if you can do it, you will really get to her.
Right.
You dress up like a girl and take her to school.
Mhm.
And let's see what she does.
I ain't ready to do that, baby.
See those shit.
I ain't doing that. And watch this. Thankfully, she's out of school, right? She's 21. So thankfully, you know what I mean? So during the interim from 13 until 18.
You know why I said that?
Go ahead.
Because sometimes you have to confront their reality.
Sure.
You know, like most times, a lot of them are just being pushed.
Sure.
Kids don't
Yep.
think, so they're
Yeah.
just being pushed. So like they're being pushed and they keep. But when they now see the reality in their own eyes, there's something clicks like, no, this is not right.
Yeah.
Cause then she gonna look at him like, Dad, you look like a fool. Why would you go outside? Wow, boo, you
I'm
look
the
like a
fool of
fool.
Santa Claus. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
So then she'll be thinking you're a fool. So sometimes you gotta put it right in their face. Anybody else had any questions before we go? That's all the questions? All right, y'all, this has been, oh my God. Straight talk with Miss, this is not even straight talk. Tired. So tired. Tru GRit, it's your girl, Miss V.
Don't try to take our energy and put your energy on straight talk.
Start again.
This Tru GRit all day long.
Do it again, I'm ready.
Okay, start.
Thank you for coming out. We'll see you Wednesday after that. This is your girl, Miss V.
This is your boy, Two Sugar Dollar.
And this is Sugar Bear. Appreciate y'all much.
Thank y'all for everything.
You can catch us each and every Wednesday live on timeless_JMH Instagram. YouTube name is Straight Talk with MS.VE. Straight Talk with Miss V. Like, subscribe until we get our platform built where we want it to be. We build with the likes and subscribers. You got any topics that you think we should have by the next week? We will. Danielle, you didn't tell me any of them to stop. I should have one. I gotta have one. I'm sorry, y'all. Danielle comes every week. And last week before she left stuff in my inbox. We got a couple minutes, David, real quick. All right. She came to say, all right. Hey sis, someone just said something on Twitter X or whatever it's called. Now they want white people are going to get a hate crime bill passed for them. Now and then going to really be able to kill is because almost everyone else has a hate crime bill passed